And I'm Jillian.
And we are the hosts of the OK Drama podcast,
where two friends break down and recap K-dramas one episode at a time. And I think that's the first time that little intro wasn't written out for me to
we were
read
trying to go by memory, and turns out we didn't have it completely memorized.
Kind of, though. Mostly.
So we're back with our second installment of Romance is a Bonus Book.
Episodes 3 and 4.
So exciting. I'm like quickly falling in love with this drama.
Same.
I was a little bit hesitant after episodes 1 and 2, which I guess, like, that's how it is with a lot of things. Like, you need to get into the groove of it. But I was like, I don't know. But after episodes 3 and 4, I was like, yes, I already love everyone. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold or something. But yeah, I'm like super pumped. And we'll talk about the relationships later, but I'm really liking this like love rectangle that is forming.
Yes, agreed. But that's more in episode 4.
Yes.
So we'll get there.
Yes.
All right. Episode 3. Again, I also really like how they have titles this time around. I wish Descendants had titles. I guess we could title them if we wanted to.
Yeah, we'll go back.
Episode 3 of Romance is a Bonus Book is called People Calling Me by My Name. And the synopsis on Netflix says, Yoonho demands to know what's going on with Donnie, who runs into Ji Sojun while looking for a room to rent and later receives a kind gesture.
Okay.
So episode 3 starts with Donnie and Yoonho at his kitchen table, and they're trying to make sense of her living in his apartment, his house, whatever it is, and just being a creep. Yeah, she's like, secretly there.
We went over this last week about how basically just being a little squatter criminal woman. Yeah,
and then actually after we had that conversation on the way home, I saw like a BuzzFeed article that I tagged you in, and then I put it on our Facebook page. But a man who was like living in a girl's closet, her like in her college like dorm or college apartment, so fucking gross and disgusting. But she like
it's so weird.
She kept saying that like she kept like things were kind of out of place or like clothes were missing and stuff. And then she like heard noises in there and she thought it was a raccoon, and she was like, "Who's there?" And all he said was, "It's me."
Oh,
like what the fuck? And then she opened the door.
And
he was just there.
I would have peed my pants if someone oh my god.
I would have ran the fuck out of that apartment. I definitely wouldn't have gone to that door.
Oh.
Hell no.
No.
But this is basically Donnie, except it's cute because she's cute.
Yeah,
and she knows Yoonho. Yeah.
They're old friends.
But she's still being like secretive about it. It's still creepy. Like
she got hit
I don't know.
by a car for this boy, so
that's true. He still owes her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I'd be a little bit weirded out if you were just living in my house somewhere and I didn't know.
I'd be like, I mean, they're gonna get to this, but I'd be like, we really need to have a conversation.
This is not okay. So anyway, she owns up to the fact that prior to her home being demolished, she was using his shower because her house that was on the verge of being demolished didn't have electricity or water or anything. And she has a really sad line when he comments about how she's kind of just explaining her situation, like it's no big deal, her living there. And she basically tells him, like, I've cried a lot of tears and crying doesn't solve anything. It's like, oh.
So sad.
Very sad.
Like, you really have had to, like, go through some shit to have that attitude.
To be, like, too tired to cry at that point. Like, she just seems over it. Like,
yeah.
Like, this is just what I'm doing because I have to. And that's it.
So she kind of plays on his emotions after this because she can tell, like, he's really concerned about her. And at this point, like, he hasn't told her she can stay or kicked her out yet. So before he can really say anything, like, she just starts drinking what I assume is, like, whiskey or something. Like, some sort of really strong brown alcohol. And is like, I'm going to bed. And just, like, takes this, you know, alcohol with him. And she's like, I'm gonna make it seem like I drank the whole thing because I'm so upset. But she just, like, pours it out the window.
And also, like, when she gets up the stairs and he's out of sight, she's, like, coughing and gagging, like, how strong is this? She's so, like, animated and funny. I really love this character.
I
She's
do too.
so cute.
She's really cute. She's fun. like, I would want to be her friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like, she gets up to her room, and, like, she's really thankful for Yoon-ho, kind of, like, talking to herself, and, like, it's really sad, though, because she still doesn't have a bed, so she just, like, cuddles up to her, like, duffel bag, and is like, oh, like, happy or whatever, because now she doesn't have to go creeping around. And you see her the next day, and she's still working at, like, the bathhouse spa situation, like, folding towels. And she's talking to her coworker, which I really love how supportive her coworkers seem to be. I think that's really sweet. But we kind of, like, get more background on her situation. Like, she explains how her daughter is in school in the Philippines, like, I guess a boarding school or whatever. And how, like, she doesn't have a lot of money. And so she's not going to worry about, like, meeting a dude because her daughter and work are her, like, number one priorities. Yeah. Because she has to work in order to support her daughter. So, yeah, she's like, fuck getting married. I need to work. That was basically the gist of it.
It's all about working and my daughter now at this point.
Yeah.
Yoon-ho at this point is being really sweet, and he tries to make her some sort of hangover soup or drink or something, and then realizes that she's not even there anymore because she's at work. But he also realizes, like, how she's been living in his attic and what it looks like. Like, there's clothes and boxes everywhere. And then, again, she doesn't have a bed. And he makes note, like, gosh, she doesn't even have a pillow. And he seems to be kind of realizing, like, how bad it's been for her. So it's a pretty, I think, kind of eye-opening scene for him to realize what she's been going through. Kind of putting himself in her shoes. Yeah. And then the two of them end up running into each other at the elevator for work. And he appears annoyed, but I think that's how he appears a lot of the time with her. Like,
that's true.
It's like a front that he has. Because we know, like, we hear his voiceover. Like, we know what he's thinking most of the time. But she says she's sorry, and he tells her she can stay in his rental property in 3 months. But she says she'll find a place sooner. And she's just assuring him, like, I can do this. It's fine. I'll get a place. And they talk about how he won't have any privacy. And then there's a really, like, awkward bit where she says she'll leave when he wants to bring a girl home. And he's like, yeah, but your stuff is everywhere. And she's like, just take her to your room.
Yeah, like, why would you take her to the attic?
Yeah, like, you don't take girls to the attic. You just, like, go and have fun with them.
And then she starts, like, giggling a lot. I guess because she's thinking about, like, him... whatever, having one-night stands or whatever.
In an attic.
Yeah.
What are you doing in there?
And then he gets, like, really bashful. It's really funny.
Alex thought that scene was really funny.
Yeah.
He's, like, cracking up real hard. He's like, laugh, guys. Like, I snickered.
Yeah. He thought it was hilarious.
He did.
But I've noticed that this show is, like, really open with, like, people sleeping with each other.
Yeah. Very different from just the straight wrist grabs of Descendants.
Yeah, totally. So, I think that's interesting.
We're getting with the times.
Definitely. So, they get into work, and people immediately start asking Donnie for shit, because she's basically, like, their little errand girl or whatever. And so, he's kind of looking out for her secretly. Like, people are asking her to do things, and she's, without explaining what to do, and so he kind of, like, texts her secretly, like, hey, it's this thing, or, like, call these people or whatever. After a while, is like, dude, I got it, like, you don't need to help me, which really sucks, because right after she tells him that, like, someone tells her to go get an IVL, and
they say, like, for an executive meeting.
Oh yeah,
and she's like, what do I need for that?
Oh yeah, they're like, get ready for the executive meeting, and then they hand her the company card, right? And then she's like, what? And then Hayrin is like, you need 5 IVLs, and she's like, the fuck? And so, but at that point, like, she already told Yoon-ho to not help her, and so then I think he's the one, right, that finally tells her, like, iced vanilla latte. But yeah, I was like, that sucks. I hate that. Anyway, so basically all this shit gets kind of figured out. And then Ji-Yul has, like, a super cringy moment. Like, I fucking hate it. Where basically Ji-Yul's mom calls Hayrin, which is, like, her direct boss, and tells her that her daughter, Jiyul, is going to be late. Because I forget the reason. But
I think she said, like, she drank a lot last night.
Basically
and she's really tired.
Yeah.
She's not used to this kind of, like, working lifestyle. Like, I'm trying to show her.
So dumb. Anyway.
Oh my god, so fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, so, like, if my mom did that, I would die. I would be like, why the fuck are you talking to anyone?
And she doesn't seem embarrassed at all, though.
No, she's, like, thankful because she loves her mom. It's weird. But anyway, so after that conversation on the phone, Jiyul, like, runs in, and Hayden, like, chews her out in front of everyone. Like, she's pretty savage, and, like, Jiyul's like, I thought we were friends. And Hayden is like, why would I be friends with you? I'm your boss. and I love how, like, everyone is just kind of, like, even Hayden's bosses are just kind of, like, do. Like, they kind of sink their heads, like,
very
into the
uncomfortable
books or computers or whatever. But, yeah, it's real awkward.
And then shortly after that, Yoonho is talking to Hae-rin, and he's basically telling her that she's a little bit harsh with her actions. And we kind of see a little bit of their chemistry and what's happening between them. He was her sunbae, and apparently he pushed her too hard, so then she quit. And because she's basically saying before, like, everyone ends up quitting except for, like, one person of the new hires or whatever. And so he was saying, like, you were that one person that quit before. And then he personally asked her to come back, so she did or whatever. And then she also asks him for her clothes back, and he tells her, why bother? You're just gonna get drunk again and come over.
And I'm like, are they sleeping together or no? Because we later see, spoilies, but whatever, that Yoonho went to, like, Donnie's house when he was drunk. But, you know, obviously he didn't go in or anything. So I'm wondering if it's kind of the same thing, like, Hayden just doesn't have anywhere else to go. Because, like, I mean, presumably she might still live with her parents, because that's how it's very common in Korean culture or whatever, to live with your parents until you're married. So maybe she just, like, goes to his place when she's drunk? Or are they, like, booty calling each other when they're drunk? I don't know. Things have gone down, though. Yeah.
Obviously.
She has a
her
bra
is there.
a red bra.
So at this point, Donnie is feeling really overwhelmed because she can't, like, figure out what these things are. Everything's kind of like, we need you to do this, we need you to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's just, like, one thing after another. And then she starts to remember what one of the other women told her when she was trying to come back to work, basically saying, like, why would you think you could do this? Like, I've worked so hard for this, and you're just going to come in and try to, like, start working out of nowhere. Like, you don't deserve this. You don't know what you're doing. You can't handle this. And it's just that inner saboteur, as RuPaul says. It's Donnie's inner saboteur talking to her right now. And she needs to tell that bitch to go away.
So after Donnie is, like, having her little moment, we cut to Yoonho's boss at a bookstore, and he keeps, like, talking to the angel man from earlier.
Such a weird conversation.
I know. Basically, he's, like, trying to get him to buy books from their publishing company. And the angel man is, like, not really nice to him. He kind of has an attitude, and he's like, wow, you must really be struggling if you're personally trying to get me to buy a book. But anyway, so they kind of, like, part ways. That's just kind of, like, I guess a little nugget to keep in your mind for later. But
because also he and Yoonho kind of made eye contact.
Yeah.
So there's that weird little,
they're kind
like,
of aware of each other.
Yeah, without being aware.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So then Yoonho and his boss are kind of having a conversation about how they need to find a new, like, book cover designer because their covers suck. And the cover of The Martian that they had was so funny. It looked like a children's book.
It did.
So weird. But basically, Yoonho's boss is saying, like, we need this specific designer because all of his covers, like you said, they're telling a story, and I think it kind of cuts back to Yoonho and Hating talking about how, like, he also makes the covers fit the different, like, demographics. So, like, a book for women, it looks, like, nice on their nightstand or whatever.
Or, like, it's really thin for the girl on the go, like a cute accessory.
Yeah.
She's, like, talking about each one. It's pretty cool when you're, like, thinking about the design of a book and in terms of, like, the cover and all aspects.
Yeah. And then, so then we're at this point thinking, like, so it was that Angel Man, the designer? Because I think a little bit earlier, you just see, like, a really quick shot of him, like, talking about book covers also and stuff.
Yeah, he has, like, some papers out or something.
Yeah.
Then it shows Donnie looking for a place to live, as she told Yoonho. And she's looking in, like, this really shitty place. It's, like, looks like there's fucking mold or, like, somebody got murdered and it, like, started decaying the wall. Like, it looks fucking gross.
Alex was like, at least paint over it.
I don't know if you can paint over that, though. So she goes there, and it doesn't look very good, but then she runs into the sweet Angel, and they kind of, like, point at each other, like, oh, like, it's you, it's you. And they hang out for a little bit. He shows her the onion, and he tells her that he's been using it, and it's been growing a lot. And he tells her he doesn't think she should live there because he's pretty sure it was a storage room, and nobody's lived there for, like, 3 years. So they just have a cute little one-on-one moment with each other, meeting again after that first one. And then we cut to Park Hoon, who was the other guy that got hired along with Donnie, and he's at a really nice restaurant, and he's like, he planned to be there, and we find out it's because Ji-yul,
I think.
It's a hard name for me to pronounce. I don't know why, but because she's gonna be there. And then he realizes, like, oh, you're meeting your boyfriend here. And so he's sitting at the table next to them and overhears the whole situation of her getting dumped by her boyfriend.
Really harshly.
Really bad. But then only to find out, like, I don't mean any of it, but your mom is making me say this. So that's what's happening. And she just kind of cries and then ends up eating with Park Hoon.
Yeah. He tells her, like, you can join me or whatever, and she, like, walks away all sad, and then she comes back and starts, like, eating a fuck ton of his pizza. Just, like, going for it.
Looked really good, though.
So, we also get, like, little cutscenes of Yoonho, like, basically redoing his, like, I guess, spare bedroom for Donnie. Like, he gets
so
her...
sweet.
Yeah, it's really cute, and the furniture he picks out is great.
But
yeah, basically he starts, like, redecorating it for her so she doesn't have to sleep in an attic.
And you commented that he even bought her makeup.
Yes.
Very cute. Very sweet.
Because we were kind of having a conversation as we were watching, the four of us, and, like, who we would pick between the two guys so far, and I was like, well, Yoonho bought her makeup. So
and a whole bedroom set.
That's
like,
true. And
dang.
he's letting her live there. So I feel like Yoonho's in the running so far. But anyway, so Donnie gets home and she, like, goes upstairs to find all of her shit's gone, and she, like, immediately assumes that Yoonho, like, gathered up her stuff to kick her out. And she starts, like, going after him, like, hardcore yelling at him. My favorite line was, like, you gave my dad cancer after he helped you get your inheritance back. Which I think is really harsh. And he's like, what? But I like that line, too, because, again, it gives us, like, another little nugget. Like, but really casually, almost. So we're like, okay, so apparently Yoonho had some sort of drama with his family and a stepmom and an inheritance. So that's kind of intriguing.
And then also, like, her dad was obviously familiar and cared for and was friends with him.
Yeah.
So and then her dad died.
So, but he's, like, taking it super calmly, and he just kind of, like, points to her new room, and she goes in, and it's, of course, gorgeous, and so she, like, basically says sorry, and they have dinner together, and she says, like, sorry that I said that you gave my dad cancer.
I love it.
Yeah, and then I said they were using interesting spoons while eating
it's the
dinner.
really wide spoons?
Yes.
They're so big.
Yeah, all of his, like, what is it called? Like, dishware or whatever. It's all really interesting. I like the way it looks. But
like
those
that half plate, whatever.
Yeah, half bowl plate thing. But that spoon, it almost looked like if a child drew what they think a spoon looks like.
Or it looks like a serving spoon.
Yeah.
Not a spoon you would eat with.
Yeah. Weird spoon. But anyway, over dinner.
Strange conversation.
Yeah. Over dinner, he tells her, like, hey, I don't mind you living with me. Like, you know, you can live here longer than 3 months. If you want to, basically. And after he says that, like, he blushes a lot, and she calls him out for it, and they kind of, like, go back and forth about how, like, how are you gonna get a girlfriend if you blush every time you say a nice thing? And he's like, I don't have to say nice things when I'm dating, or something like that. Like, dating isn't all about words. I don't know. It's really cute. But basically, they kind of come to the consensus, like, okay, well, maybe I will live here longer than 3 months. Like, they're not gonna try to rush to find her a new place to live. And I like seeing them just, like, eating together.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah. And another cute moment happens where Donnie decides she wants to participate in coming up with a blurb for the new book that they're working on. And it's cute because, like, she feels kind of back in the groove and she's excited about something.
Yeah.
She's not, like, worrying about money or, like, trying to find a job, you know. She's not struggling like that. She just found this thing that reminded her of what she used to love to do. And so she's excited to try that. But one of the bosses, the only one she talks to about it, Director Go, who is, quote, the original Ice Queen, isn't being supportive at all and basically tells her, like, stick with your job.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, don't come over here. But she tries anyway. And she does her little power pose that we saw on, I think, episode 1.
It's
super
so
cute.
Power pose.
I love it. And so Yoonho gives her a copy of the book so she can, like, research it. And basically they're just trying to find, like, they're trying to decide what's the quote that's going to go in the front of the book to kind of draw people in. Which I don't know if those things ever draw me in, but whatever.
No, I honestly, when they were talking earlier about the covers, like, people buy books based on the covers. I am totally that person. I buy books based on, like, obviously recommendations that I see online or in person, whatever.
Yeah.
But if I'm just, like, browsing, if a book cover looks really interesting, it makes me pick it up.
I'm not looking at, like, so-and-so said this.
Yeah.
Or it's going to make you think this. Like, if the cover looks really cool and it's a cool title, then I'm definitely intrigued. But, like...
And then I read the book jacket, like, the summary.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
A random one-liner blurb is a little bit... I don't know. Could go either way.
Exactly.
But she's really excited to do this and try this attempt. So she's working really hard, and she's, like... You see her doing a whole bunch of research, this whole montage thing happening. And then she shows her ideas to Director Go. And she basically chews her out and is a huge bitch. And she tells her that all of her ideas are outdated. And again, she needs to stay in her place because she's old. And she figured she would know this already because she's old. But she hasn't figured it out. She's just like the other ones. It's really fucked up and sad. And so she had, like, a whole bunch of blurb ideas.
Yeah.
And she was like, these all suck.
8 or something.
Yeah, these are all bullshit. So Donnie regroups and she tries to come up with a new blurb to submit, and she comes up with a few and then ends up running them by Haerin, who gives her notes and basically saying, like, this one's too much this or too much that, like, you're trying too hard to draw them in or whatever, you're trying to make them buy it. And then she puts a star next to one of them. And Donnie is like, okay, this is the one. Yeah. And it's super exciting. Power pose,
yeah. And also their, like, little kitchenette area in their office is adorable.
Very cute, yeah. If only every office had a kitchen like that.
Ours is, like, kind of depressing.
Just gray.
Yeah, and, like, tan. And then there's, like, a little table that no one uses. So we just, like, end up putting, like, if someone...
The fruit and shit.
Fruit.
Random
or, like,
stuff.
Cookies. Anyway. So, Miss Go, or Director Go, like, goes to the meet. So basically, right before the meeting, Donnie gives Director Go the blurb that Haerin said, like, is a good one. And so she reads it and doesn't say anything. And then they all go into the meeting about creating the blurb. but Donnie's in the meeting because she's just the errand girl or whatever.
Yeah.
And Director Go presents Donnie's idea, but she doesn't say who it's from, so everyone just kind of assumes that it was her idea. But she does a thing where she doesn't say, like, it's mine. She just, like,
doesn't say it's not hers.
Exactly. And so
shitty.
I know. So
God.
everyone, like, loves it, and they're like, oh, that's awesome, like, it's modern, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think it was that good. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think Alex said the same thing.
I mean, it's fine.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's something about a tail that'll grip you, or I forget. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
not important.
But so basically, they're like, okay, we're going with that blurb, and Donnie can hear that people are talking about her blurb as being the one, but she kind of can also tell, like, oh, they didn't give me credit. Yeah, because
they're basically saying, like, that's why they pay her the big bucks.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She comes up with all the greatest ideas. And they're just really excited and like, oh my god, this is so terrible.
Yeah, and like Hating and Yoon-ho both know that Donnie came up with that blurb.
Yeah, they both kind of like looked at the paper. They both saw the star.
And they looked at each other kind of like, okay.
And nobody said anything.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, again, Donnie kind of like realizes what's going on, but she doesn't say anything. And then she goes up to Hating kind of later privately and asks her if stuff like this happens often. Basically, like, if people steal each other's ideas. But, like, Hating does that thing where she just kind of, like, falls in line with the company and is like, I don't know what you're talking about. Which is, like, fucking devastating. Because you can see in the meeting that Hating, like, looks kind of upset. And is, like, confused.
Because at first she seems kind of happy, like, oh, hey, like, that's her thing. And
then she realizes, like, Director Go is kind of, like, fucking with her. And then... So, yeah, I'm sure, like, it's really hard for Hating. And I think... I like that the show is touching on it, because I feel like this probably happens to a lot of people in the workplace. Especially, like, a lot of young people, where you feel like you don't want to stand up for someone else and stick your neck out for someone, because you're trying to, like...
You're trying to move up.
Thing. Yeah. But also, like, women should support other women. So, but yeah, I can see how, like, hard that would be, especially in such a competitive field, especially, too, because that boss, like, the Ice Queen, she's, like, such a bitch to everyone. Yeah. And it's, like, super, super big bummer.
Yeah, I feel like if I was Donnie, I would have started crying.
Oh, yeah.
I would have, like, gone home and, like, cried to Andrew and been like, I fucking hate this place.
I want to quit.
I want to quit. I know I just got it, but I want to quit. I hate it.
Yeah.
Ugh. God. So, like me, Donnie looks pretty bummed heading home. She's not crying, but, like, she looks very disappointed. And Hating confronts Donnie in the elevator and basically tells her to buck up and stop thinking it's unfair because this is the way it is. And Donnie says she wasn't just mad at Mrs. Go, but disappointed in Hating. And maybe even Yoon-ho too. But obviously Hating didn't know that because she didn't know he saw it. But she said, like, hearing words of sympathy and comfort would have been enough. And it seems like that hit Hating pretty hard. And I think she's talking to both her and Yoon-ho at the same time. Because he didn't even look at her. He just, like, walked by after the meeting. And she overheard everything. He didn't even acknowledge her, which was really shitty.
Yeah. But I also think, like, Donnie kind of went out of her way to ask Hating. She didn't really ask Yoon-ho, like, help me do this. He was just kind of, like, supporting her on the sidelines. And I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe also because she's a woman, too. Like, she would have, you know, I guess because Donnie, like, went to her first to be like, hey, what's going on? And for Hating to not even be like, you know, I'm sorry, but this is how it is. Yeah. She just, like, almost made her feel even worse for being like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think also the fact that she asked her for her opinion and she, like, made all those notes and stuff, and it seemed like she genuinely cared about the ideas. I don't know. It's all shitty.
Yeah, but like you said, I think Hayden kind of, like, took that to heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that is, like, a good eye-opening thing. Like, even if you are, like, trying to, like, toe the line of, you know, not ruffling feathers, but, like, also being supportive, like, you can still not ruffle feathers, but also tell someone, like, hey, I know this sucks, but, like, I'm here for you, and we just have to get through this together, kind of a thing. So, hopefully she'll be more supportive in the future. So, Donnie goes home, and she vents to Yoonho, like you would vent to Andrew. And they're drinking soju and just kind of, like, talking about work and shit. And he tells her, like, basically he acknowledges the fact that Dr. Go stole her idea. And he's like, you just kind of have to, like, keep at it, because they're not going to acknowledge the fact that the errand girl created the new blurb. Like, because she says, like, I don't even need, like, a new title. Like, I just want people to know that I have more to offer than just picking up coffee. Which, I feel bad for her, but at the same time, that's kind of what she signed up for.
Yeah,
and he told her,
that's
like,
her job.
Yeah, he told her, like, you have a degree that you're wasting. Are you going to be okay with just getting people's coffees? And she said yes. And she's already not okay.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I would feel the exact same way, but he kind of warned her.
Absolutely.
So anyway, they're just kind of going back and forth, and he's like, you know, just put in more time. The longer you're there, like, the more respect you'll get from other people. Again,
probably just hard, because she's not in any sort of, like, position where people are listening to her.
Right.
They just kind of tell her what to do.
Yeah. But then Donnie has this, like, really happy, but, like, also kind of sad for the audience moment, where she says, like, you know, you're right. I'm really happy at work. And then she says that she's happy that people are calling her by her name for a change. And then you kind of, like, I think you kind of hear and see, like, little flashbacks of people calling her, like, ma'am or miss or mom or honey, and no one's, like, saying, like, Donnie or whatever. And then you see people calling her at work, like, by her name, and she kind of tells, you know, like, it's been so long since people have acknowledged me for, like, who I am as a person, not just as, like, a worker or a wife or a mom. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's, like, real depressing.
And that's the thing that, like, happens with women. Is suddenly, like, you lose your name and you lose your personality, and, like, suddenly you belong to someone else. You're someone's wife. You're someone's mom. Ugh.
It's kind of fucked up. But again, I like how the show is kind of, like,
it's touching on all of these things.
Yeah, and, like, really subtly, too. It's not, like, down your throat, like, see what women have to go through. But it's, like, yeah, no, like, this is, I feel like, a real issue that, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
A ton of people go through. So then Yoonho kind of leaves randomly. Like, Donnie comes back and sees that he's gone. And so she calls him and is like, where are you? And he, like, drunkenly tells her that he's going home because he's in the back of a cab. And she's like, we were drinking at home. Which, it was kind of confusing at first. I was like, wait, what? Does he mean, like, he's turning the cab around? Or, I don't know. But yeah. So then he kind of, like, comes to, because he's basically passed out in the cab. And the cab drops him off at the site of where her old house was, like, but is now demolished. And then we see that whenever he got really drunk, he would tell the cab driver to, like, take him to her house, because I guess that was, like, who he wanted to be with and where he wanted to be. And we see him kind of, like, see all of her ups and downs too. Yeah. And I'm like, dang, he got drunk a lot. Drunk to the point where
sad.
But yeah, so it's kind of sad because he has, like, a little voiceover, and he says, like, I heard her laugh, I heard her cry, like, I heard her being a mom. And, you know, he, like, and I think he says something like, but I couldn't reach out to her because whatever, she was, like, going through shit. So yeah, so he's kind of just, like, taking it all in.
Yeah, it's sad, but also, like, a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, going to her house when you're drunk. It's a little creepy, but
they're creepy together, I guess.
Yeah. So at this point, Donnie is worried about Yoonho, and so she's waiting for him outside of his house, and he goes up to her and hugs her, which, as we know, is a big deal in Korea and K-dramas. And now he's really happy that he doesn't have to go to her house anymore, because now she's at his house. And you noted that he sheds a single beautiful tear.
Yeah. Bam. End of
episode.
It's funny. I think they've done this a lot, and it's kind of like a cheesy K-drama trope, but like someone's like really happy or whatever, and they're just like, tear.
God.
So funny. So then we get to episode 4, which is entitled Everybody Turned Their Backs on Me. And the synopsis is, Yoonho can't recall what he did the previous night. Donnie stumbles across Sojun's dog and agrees to have ramen with a new neighborhood friend. So, it is the next day, and Yoonho wakes up and is trying to remember what happened when he got home from being drunk. And, like, Donnie kind of gets him out of bed and, kind of gets after him for how he drinks so much. And she's like, I didn't teach you, like, or I didn't spend all that money to teach you how to drink for you to act like this. And then we get a little flashback of Donnie teaching Yoonho how to drink.
Super funny.
Yeah, so funny. On his birthday. And it's really cute because, like, she also doesn't really know how to drink. And he is kind of like, okay, like, he knows more about alcohol than she does. But again, like you said, it's really cute, and we get scenes of her, like, doing soju shots and, like, beer bombs and all this stuff. It's funny. It looks fun.
Yeah, like, again, she's super animated.
I want to party
and
with
really
her.
funny in these scenes.
So, Yoonho ends up taking care of Donnie, and she comes out of the bathroom with her lipstick all smeared, and it kind of looks like they're about to kiss, but he just, like, wipes the lipstick that was smeared away, and she's like, I'm buying the whole bar drinks. Or I think she, like, rings a bell or something. And so they keep partying a little bit, and then Yoonho and Donnie are hanging out, like, I guess maybe waiting for a cab or something, just kind of getting fresh air. And he calls her a dummy for spending all that money, but she says that she's happy to spend her money like that. And then we kind of hear her talking about how, like, her client, like, is sexually harassing her.
Yeah.
Like, grabbing her ass and stuff.
And so all of that money that she spent was the money she earned from working with that guy. And she's like, I'm happy to spend it this way. I'm happy to spend his money.
It's weird.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
But anyway, we can tell, like, Yoonho really cares about her, and he, like, puts his coat on her because she says she's cold, and he buttons it up, which I think is really cute, so she can't, like, get her arms out, because she doesn't put her arms through the armholes, and then he, like, grabs the armholes and is kind of, like, walking her, almost, and then she starts running and, like, twists her
with
body.
Her sleeves.
Yeah, just, like, yeah.
It's cute.
It's really funny.
So then we're in present day, and they're sitting over breakfast, and she keeps asking him, like, where were you? Why did you leave? Where did you go? And he basically just tells her that he went where the girl he likes lives.
Ooh. And we know that's Donnie.
Yeah. Very sweet. Very sad.
Yeah. And, like, I feel like this is the show, like, really confirming to the audience. It's like, no, he still has a thing for her. Like, because I feel like before, I was kind of maybe thinking, like, well, maybe he just has, like, lingering feelings that aren't, like, super strong, because obviously he's had girlfriends and stuff, but no, he, like, actually is in love with this woman.
So she gets excited over the fact that, like, he went to a girl's house, because I feel like to her, she's kind of treating him like he's her little brother.
Yeah.
And she's telling him, like, you should have stayed over at her place. Like, why didn't you stay? And he comes back with, do you sleep with everyone you like? What's going on in that head of yours? And she says, dirty thoughts, since it's been a long time since she's had sex. And then again, he kind of gets red. And she laughs again.
Yeah.
This is very different from Descendants.
Oh, yeah. This is different from a lot of K-dramas I've seen. I think the other K-drama that I've seen that is, like, this open about sex... Well, okay. Something in the Rain was very open in that they, like, showed sex scenes.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, like, not, like,
porn not
style.
full on, but even the fact that they're showing anything.
Yeah.
In that sort of area.
And then, Suspicious Partner. Also, they didn't show as much sex as Something in the Rain, but they were kind of like, and they go into the bedroom, and he puts her on the bed, and then it's the next morning, and they wake up in the same bed. But they talk about, like, oh, well, I've slept with him, or she slept with him. So, they're being very open, like, people are sleeping with each other. And it's funny because in that show, the girl's like, well, I've only slept with him once, but we've been living together for blah, blah, blah. And it's funny. But anyway, yeah, this is, like, very realistic with, like, grown people's sex lives, I think. Which I think is refreshing. And it's nice to see, like, an adult woman kind of, like, claiming her own sexuality and not being, like, embarrassed about it or anything.
Yeah.
Which I feel like even in Western shows.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You don't see a lot of women being like, oh, it's been so long since I've had sex, and it sucks because I'm a single mom, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So he asks what else happened the night before, and she kind of, like, I forget what she says, but he's like, that's not what I'm talking about, like, in his head. Like, he's like, did I fuck up, basically. And then she says, like, oh, yeah, you also hugged me, which was super weird, and then you drooled on me, which was really gross, like, you're really gross.
And he, like, spit up his food because he was so shocked and embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and she's like, I can just imagine hearing, like, the woman who you've been friends with for forever and, like, you are in love with be like, you're so gross. So embarrassing. So, yeah, he's basically dead.
God. Yoonho in the next scene gives Haerin her clothes back, which she had, like, in a pink bag, and Donnie, like, kind of snooped inside earlier.
Which, again, she's so funny. She's, like, you see him, like, getting water, and then you see her, like, with her head in the bag, basically, and he's like, what are you doing?
Because it isn't for you.
Yeah.
So he basically tells her, like, hey, you can't come over when you're drunk anymore. Like, there's a woman living with me now. And she, like, is totally thrown for a loop here. Like, what?
Yeah.
And she doesn't really say anything. She takes the bag. It's awkward and uncomfortable.
Yeah. And again, I'm like, so were they fucking or not? Because I feel like if they were, again, like, booty call partners, friends with benefits kind of thing, like, she would have been a little bit more like, you're living with someone? Like, but she doesn't even say anything. She's just like, oh, okay. I mean, she looks, like, shocked, and maybe that's why she didn't say anything, but she doesn't look mad. Which I guess maybe for friends with benefits.
Maybe she's, like, sad. And, because maybe they, I don't know, maybe they weren't super serious, or it hadn't gotten to that level of it being serious, or they, like, were okay with seeing other people.
Yeah, like,
but she didn't think it would be like, oh, I'm living with this person now.
Yeah.
And some random person, like, she has no idea who it is.
Yeah. Kind of just, like, all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's really weird. Ugh. So anyway, everyone is admiring the blurb that Donnie actually came up with. She just keeps her head down, keeps doing her job, whatever. And then Director Go asks her what she thinks of the blurb, which I feel like is really fucked up.
Yeah, it's like a test. Like, are you gonna challenge me on this?
Are you gonna, like, try to say anything or try to tell people, like, what do you think? So she asks if she thinks that she stole it from her, and tells her that she actually came up with the exact same idea for the blurb. And I'm like, sure, Jan. Fucking sure. And Donnie kind of challenges her, and she asks why she didn't tell her. But she's also trying to understand where she's coming from and saying, like, I guess it is possible that, like, we both could have came up with the exact same thing, which, no, I don't think so at all. Whatever. It's just weird, uncomfortable back and forth. Like, you can't do anything in that position.
Right.
Like, you're the errand girl.
Yeah.
Who's going to believe you? Who's going to listen to you? Like, ugh.
Yeah, and I think, like, Director Go is kind of solidifying that position in her head. Like, basically, like, fronting her. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm your boss or whatever. But I also like how Donnie was like, I guess that's a possibility, but no. Anyway, so after that encounter, the newbies, so like Park Hoon, Ji-yool, and Donnie go to the print shop with Yoonho, and basically they're just shredding a bunch of books, which is sad.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So we get to see more of the process of the company, like, creating a book, like, from the idea and, like, whatever manuscript, I guess, to, like, it being in production. And obviously gets printed at this site. And then, we also get, like, some Me Too movement action in it, because in the flashback, you see that one of the authors that they work with was accused of sexually harassing or assaulting women. So they have to, like, go to the print shop and, like, take out pamphlets for his new book and some other guy's book. Again, I think the show is really...
It goes there.
Yeah. It's going there. It's with the times, but it's not, like, really in your face about it. And yeah, so I thought this part was kind of weird and boring. Besides, like, the Me Too stuff, because it didn't really, like, move the story along. Yeah. But it was basically like, this is our company, this is why we need to make sure we're selling books, because they're gonna end up here. And I guess it kind of, like, provided some insight about the publishing industry. And so, like, maybe...
And why they're trying to keep up sales and everything.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if they can't sell a book.
I guess, like, the consequences of everything. So then Hae-rin shows up to the print shop, and Donnie sees, like, her bag.
And I think it's interesting that she's holding the bag with her, like...
I was thinking about that too, but then upon rewatch, you see that she drove the company car to the print shop site, so she took her stuff.
And then she let them take the car. Yeah, and that's right.
She took Yoonho's drove her.
That makes sense. Okay.
I know. I thought the exact same thing the first time I watched it, but yeah,
makes sense.
So as we just said, Hae-rin, like, takes her shit and she goes with Yoonho because I think, like, Hae-rin's mom wants to give him kimchi or something. So the girls leave with Park Hoon, and then there's this really funny driving scene. It really, it reminds me of the scene in Clueless.
Yes, absolutely.
Where Dion gets on the freeway.
Absolutely. You're getting on the freeway. You're getting on the freeway.
I love that movie so much.
It's such a great scene.
And the girls are just screaming.
I like the scenes, like, the shots of Ji-yool, and, like, her face is, like, right in the camera, and she's just, like, screaming and looks so terrified. Oh my gosh. Her expression there is so perfect.
Yeah.
Hae-rin and Yoonho are now at her parents' restaurant, which looks like a really nice little place. And her parents just absolutely adore him. Like, the mom especially is just, like, all over him. It's really cute, but kind of weird and funny.
And I said, what's not to love? He's rich, and he's cute, and he's successful, and he's nice to them. I mean, what more can you ask for? Yeah. I guess for him to like your daughter, but...
Yeah. Yeah, so they're just, like, totally all over him and just, like, praising and, like, we love you, basically. And then it cuts to Donnie on a bus, and she is thinking about everything that she saw. Like, I saw this bag at the house, and then I saw it with her, and there's a bra inside, and then he went to go get kimchi from her parents, and she's kind of, like, drawing everything on the window with, like, lipstick, and it's really cute and really funny. It was an interesting scene, and I'm wondering what she's thinking there, like, does she find that uncomfortable? Is she kind of jealous about it? Because she kind of looked like, what?
Yeah. But, yeah, at this site, she kind of was like, okay. But on the bus, she was, like, more, like, intrigued. And I thought with her, like, riding on the bus window, like, she would have gotten yelled at.
Absolutely.
But anyway. Yeah, I'm curious to see, like, what this kind of love rectangle is going to turn into.
Yeah, because also Jill was talking about it in the car, like, do you think they're sleeping together?
Oh,
do you think they're together? I think they are. Like, couldn't you see that chemistry? And Donnie was in the back kind of quiet, just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like how she was like, he's the only person that she's nice to.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, so Donnie, whatever, gets off the bus and she's walking and then she runs into the Angel Man's dog.
Because also I guess it's important to say that he actually lives really close to Yoonho.
Oh yeah, they live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like a block away, it seems.
So that's why she keeps bumping into him.
So she, like, whatever, puts her scarf on the dog's collar so she can keep track of it. And I think it's funny because she's like, this was very expensive. And so she eventually runs into the Angel Man and they talk and they decide to call each other Miss Green Onion and Mr. Umbrella and the dog Goombi, which I think translated to rain or something like that. And so then he invites her for ramen, and immediately I was like, ooh, because we know what that means from
Thank you, Descendants of the Sun.
Yeah.
While Yoonho and Haerin are walking after dinner, Yoonho sees Donnie's ex-husband working at a restaurant, and he's like, I have to go and get some pork.
Yeah.
You go home. And she's like, do you know him? And he's like, just you go home. And he, like, looks like a fucking man on a mission here. Like, he looks pissed. So he confronts him because Donnie thinks that he's living in Canada right now. And that's not quite true because he's right there, working in a little restaurant. Like, obviously in the same fucking area, like, not far away, it seems.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, you can't, like, fucking live on the other side of the country or something. Like, Korea's really small anyway, but I'm assuming they're in Seoul.
You could still go away.
Yeah, like,
especially if you're gonna lie.
Totally.
And say you're in a completely other country. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, it's insane. Yeah, so basically, yeah, he's totally shitty, lying to his ex, and he has a new baby mama. She's totally knocked up right now. She's cute. Totally knocked up, though.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah. She doesn't quite know, like, anything what's happening. I don't know. Maybe she does. Who knows? But Yoonho keeps chasing him. They're kind of running around the whole restaurant, the back, and everything. Yoonho ends up beating him up. Good on you.
Yeah, I said, I can't see that actor beating anyone up in real life.
Because he's so pretty and, like, little.
Yeah, he's so, like, scrawny looking. Which I think it's funny, because in the show, they, like, pull, like, you see him, like, just pulling her ex's hair and, like, out of frame, and then you just see him, like, with a black eye.
Yeah, and also that guy looks a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't look huge, but, like, compared to
like, not
Yoonho.
Taller, just, like, bulkier.
Stockier, yeah. And so they're basically sitting down with the new lady in his life, and he's saying that he needs him to pay Donnie child support and alimony. And he's like, I'll pay the child support because, like, technically that's my kid too, which is also fucked up. Like, you don't even give a shit about your kid, you fucking asshole, and then you're gonna have another kid. Are you kidding me? So he says, like, he'll do that, but, like, he can't, like, give her all his money. Like, he has this wife now. He has this baby now.
Yeah, and I feel bad because the new woman is like, what?
Yeah, and she's like, this is my parents' restaurant. Like, this isn't ours. We don't have money. And it's like, he's fucking you up just like he did Donnie.
Yeah.
Get out while you can, girl.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Because, like, you want to be like, no, Donnie deserves that money. But then also, like, but this poor girl, like, just fuck that guy. Like, he sucks. Men
like him, come on. So he finally agrees to send her money also. And then later on, Yoonho gets, like, a photo of her bank book and stuff and sends it to him so he knows how to transfer the money or whatever. Donnie goes to Mr. Umbrella's house. They only eat ramen. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
They talk, and she sees that he has a painting of her, which I think it was Alex that said that was creepy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a little weird. Like, you met her twice.
Yeah, twice. Well, no, he met her once.
And then he painted, and then we saw them. He saw her a second time.
He saw
That's
her a
right.
second time. They didn't like talk to each other. I don't think.
No, and then he met her again whenever she was checking. Yeah. Either way, not enough times to do an entire painting with someone.
Yeah.
He seems sweet. So she seems to like the painting though.
Yeah.
She seems very happy about it, and he's like, "You can have it when it's done." But then she notices that there's another door with a lock on it. And it's like locked. I don't know. It's just like a big door with a big lock.
Yeah, he's like, he brings it up because he can see
that she's
her
looking
at it, and he's like, "You must think it's weird that I have another room with like a padlock on it or whatever, like a digital lock."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Nope, like I don't care because I don't really want to get to know you." was basically the sentiment. She's like. Because he says, like, "Oh, well, don't you think we should, like, know each other's, like, name, age, occupation? Like, that's usually how people start." And she does, like, the little, like, hand thing, like, like, "Nope, we're not talking about that stuff." Like, I just want to hang out, basically. And, yeah, she is basically like, "We can hang out, like, I'll watch your dog for you, but, like, we're not gonna get into the specifics of our lives." Which, again, I think is interesting. So, Donnie gets home, and then Yoonho starts asking her where she was, kind of, like, similar to the night before. And she tells him that she went over to eat ramen at a neighbor's house. And Yoonho starts freaking out when he realizes that it was a man. Which I feel like is fair, because she's only been living there for, like... She's only legit been living there for, like, 2 days. And he's like... And he asks her, like, "Who is this guy?" And she's like, "I don't know his name. I don't know. And he's like, "What the fuck? Like, how are you going into someone's house and you don't even know them?" Which I feel as, like, someone who's afraid to be murdered. Yeah, like, you shouldn't be going into people's houses.
And without other people knowing
where
you are.
And then he kind of, like, gets into, like, the whole ramen connotation. And he, like, cites the movie that it, like, first sparked the whole, like, ramen and chill thing, I guess. And then Donnie, says, like, she's disappointed that they only ate ramen.
So good. So like, good.
Because she's like, "Oh." And then, yeah, she's like, "Oh, man, we only ate ramen." It's funny. Oh, so then basically she's like, "Hey, I don't need to know everything about everybody. Like, I really only need one person in my life who knows what's going on and who, like, will support me. And for me, that's you." Which makes him really happy.
Naturally.
And, yeah, they kind of, like, go their separate ways or whatever.
Gosh.
Oh, and then he does the, like, "Nayana."
Oh,
Nayana.
yeah.
Which I had to, like, explain to everybody was a popular song from, like, last summer. But, yeah, I thought that was cute. And I was like, "Oh, I get that reference."
Yeah, you got that real quick.
Because I was obsessed with that song, and I was really upset because I could not find it on Apple Music or Spotify. Like, I could only find it on YouTube. So.
Also, the song that always plays on here, on this show, I can't think of how it goes right now. But Andrew and I were talking about it last night, and he was, like, playing it on guitar, because he ends up just playing a song from every drama we watch on guitar. But, I was saying, like, that song sounds like it's a Beatles song. And we were thinking, like, it sounds like a mix of, like, Strawberry Fields, because it has that little thing in the very beginning of the song. And then it also sounded like Yesterday. And then Andrew said it sounded like another song that I can't remember. A non-Beatles song, I think.
Interesting. I'll have
so next time you listen to it, just, like, the melody of it and the way it's being sung, I kind of have it in my head, but not quite enough to be able to actually hum it. Yeah, it's
look for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I always think of the Beatles when I hear it. But anyway, next day, Donnie gets to work and starts reading up on marketing stuff. And then one of the other directors, Mrs. So, gives her some advice about what books to read. And she's like, the ones you have here, like the majority of them are outdated, or it's like this type of information. You need to look into more like social media stuff in like in 2018. And then Donnie has to downplay her experience because she's about to say like, yeah, back when I was in marketing or whatever. And she realized like, oh, wait, I technically didn't do that. She's like, I used to like study some courses and I did a little bit like many years ago, just like interning or whatever. I don't know what she said.
Yeah, I think she was like, yeah, I was a temp at an advertising agency or something.
So ridiculous. Yoonho and his boss meet up with the book designer guy, finally, which of course ends up being Mr. Umbrella, also known as Angel Man, also known as Ji Sojun. G, right? J-I?
Yeah, G.
Okay. But he's kind of mean to them. And he basically says that he only wants to talk to Yoonho. He doesn't really give a shit about the actual boss. Because Yoonho's success as an author. But then he starts asking about the other author. I don't know if we mentioned him in episode 1 and 2.
I think we did, just like that when Yoonho is being interviewed.
That's right, that they asked about him.
They bring him up and he gets like really cagey.
Yeah, so same thing happens here. So he starts asking like about this author. This author was incredible. He was doing so many great things. And then he gave y'all the exclusive rights to all of his books and suddenly disappeared. Like, there's a rumor that the boss forced him to do that. And then they locked him up.
Like, what?
And he's like asking, like, is that true? Is that what happened? And everyone's like, Yoonho right away is like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And he like pulls his collar too.
Yeah.
It gets really
intense.
intriguing, like really. Ugh.
Yeah, because Yoonho's boss is like still trying to hire him. So he's trying to be like really friendly and still being nice to him. And
Yoonho's like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah, but then like Ji Sojun is like, bro, I'm not working for you. Like, I don't respect you. I'm only here to talk to Yoonho, basically. It's just really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then again, the boss tries to like chill everyone out, and he's like, no, like, honestly, we don't know what happened to him. Like, he gave us the rights, he helped us out a lot by doing that, but like, we don't know where he's at or how to find him.
Yeah, and then I think a little bit before that, Yoonho's like, you know as much as we do, I guess this author, in like maybe the last book he wrote, or he like, I think the subtitle says like a declaration. So he like put out some sort of press release or maybe something in his book basically saying like, peace out, I'm going to live my life quietly now, or something kind of like that. I think he alludes to that, like, this dude is allowed to be left alone, so like people need to leave him alone. And then I think after that, his boss is like, we don't know anything. So
it's really fucking weird.
Yeah. But yeah, Sojun is like, I only came here to ask this question, and it seems like Yoonho is the only one that knows anything. And then they like storm out. Really
That's weird.
Intriguing.
And we haven't even like seen that author. Like,
no.
We don't know what he looks like or anything. Like, not even like on a book cover, like a jacket or anything.
Yeah, and so it gets even more intriguing because Yoonho and his boss go, they're like eating and drinking soju or whatever, and they're kind of like recapping what just happened, and we see that Yoonho does know something because Yoonho apologizes because that dude was such a dick to his boss, which I like his boss. Like, he seems to kind of
like he was really excited to hire people and like be there or whatever.
He seems like a sweet guy. And then I like how he talks to Yoonho, like, don't give me those eyes. Like,
he just tries really hard.
Yeah.
He tries too hard to be liked and to get people on his team and stuff.
But basically Yoonho apologizes that the meeting went to shit, and then his boss tells him, like, you shouldn't apologize to me. You're the one carrying the burden.
He's
and we're like,
did he kill him?
Yeah. And I'm like, what? What burden?
I know. It's so intriguing. Ooh. So now we cut to Donnie looking for Yoonho again. And then she's kind of like singing in his like incredible yard that's like blocked in. And then she realizes that he's been sitting in the yard the whole time. And she asks, like, what he's doing here. And he's like, I'm looking at the moon. And it cuts to the moon, and the moon's, like, huge. Like
fake-ass
stupid
moon.
fucking huge. It's so dumb. Looks pretty, but so fake.
Yeah. It was like the stars on Uruk.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then he tells her he only needs her too. Even if the whole world turns his back on him, she would at least give him the benefit of the doubt. So he's obviously been pondering something sitting out there.
Yeah, we kind of glossed over it, but, like, before he gets home, like, he's smoking a cigarette, like, kind of thinking. And then I think we also see Ji So-jun get back to his apartment. And also kind of stewing. But I also noticed, I can't remember which other drama, not just Descendants of the Sun, but I'm like, they really show people smoking a lot in dramas.
Really?
Or I just noticed it, I think, because they're not really allowed to show people smoking on most US TV shows. Because, you know, cancer and whatnot. But I just noticed, like, oh, people are smoking and it's no big deal. Okay. I don't know. That was just, like, I feel like you don't see, like, young, attractive people smoking on US TV. But he was.
Just pot.
Yeah, just pot. They're vaping.
But yeah, he asks her to sing to her some more. And she just sings the song that she was singing earlier. And then end of episode. And, like, we're left wondering what's going on in that head of his.
And I'm like, next up, please. I need to keep watching.
Especially after the previews that we saw. Where you see a little more of, like, this love rectangle. Interesting stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, and, like, no spoilies, but I've seen spoilers on Twitter. And it looks like...
Don't tell me
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
I'll wait until we watch.
Okay. But, yeah, I'm excited. So, fashion?
Yes.
Fashion. Okay.
Yes, God!
This is a great show for fashion. I love it. I basically love all of Hae Bin's looks. Like, I'm loving the belt over blazer looks that a lot of the women have been sporting.
Are you gonna start adopting that look?
Maybe. I've also started watching Touch Your Heart, which is really cute and good. And she has worn, like, the main character in that drama has worn blazers, or belts over blazers too. So I guess that's just a really big trend right now. But yeah, I love Donnie's red coat where it has, like, the little tie around the neck.
Yes.
Too. I also really liked the purses that both Donnie and Hayden had when, like, they're in the elevator and Donnie kind of confronts her. They almost look like the same purse, just in 2 different colors.
Yeah, I feel like all the girls on this show kind of killing it in the looks department. Now that Donnie has had a wardrobe upgrade.
So she's not wearing the same black skirt and blazer.
And shoes. Yeah, I think stuff has been really good. Also the dudes, too.
Yeah. I really like, this is such a simple look, and then it's not really unique, but I really like Yoonho's, like, Converse, jeans, and blazer look. It looks really modern and, like, stylish, but also...
Yeah, casual, too.
But also kind of professional.
Dudes can pull that off, though.
Totally. Do you have any other specific fashion-y things?
I don't have any specifics. I feel like I said something the other day when we were watching. Like, I like that. I don't remember what it was.
Well, you kept mentioning Yoonho's sweater that looks like one of Andrew's sweaters.
Yeah, Yoonho has a sweater that looks like Andrew's. It wasn't, like, particularly a favorite, but I was just like, hey, you have that sweater.
Oh, you also liked Donnie's sweater when she goes over to eat ramen and, like, comes back.
Oh, yeah, because it has, like, a cool print on it. Like,
yeah.
It's on one side only, and the other side's
like,
tan.
Asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah.
That's a sweater I would wear.
I
definitely.
think that's another trend that I've seen in a lot of Korean clothes. It's, like, really obviously asymmetrical things where, like, one half of the shirt will be, like, one print, and then the other half will be another print, and, like, different lengths.
Yeah,
and
I
everything,
love
too.
shit like that.
Yeah.
So cool. That's my thing.
Yeah. Cool.
I love you moments?
Yes.
I love you.
I love you. I will always love you.
I love you.
So, I know you said it was kind of creepy, but I liked seeing him go to her house.
It was sweet.
Yeah, because he's not, like, trying to listen in or anything.
Yeah.
It's just, like, him being
He's
drunk.
longing.
Yeah, and being like, I just want to be with this woman. And then he gets there, and then he has to hear all the shit she goes through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would probably say that would be mine, too. Because other than that, I don't think there's any moment that's, like, really, really sweet, you know?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten up to that yet. And this, I kind of am sensing that this drama might not have a ton of overly sweet I love you moments. Touch Your Heart already has I love you moments.
I guess, like, a sweet moment, not really, like, a major I love you moment, would be,
Park
Hoon, yeah. And, Jiu, when that guy dumps her, and then he gets her to sit with him and have dinner. Because then he's just, like, talking to her, and she starts to feel better. And it's really sweet. And then I think she asks him, like, are you dating anyone? Which kind of goes into your theory that they end up dating.
Oh, yeah.
That we talked about briefly. So I can kind of see that happening more now.
Like, everyone coupling off. Yeah, I kind of like them together, too. Because he seems like someone who can put up with her crazy bullshit. And
her mom.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where since he's, like, not a traditionally attractive dude, like, it's like, oh, I feel lucky to be with her kind of a thing. So he's, like, ultra patient. And then she'll, like, eventually learn to like him for who he is because he's, like, a good person and sweet to her. Even though I still didn't like how he was super know-it-all-y, like, you're gonna need to look out for this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, fucking mansplaining everything.
But he hasn't been doing that in these 2 episodes.
True.
So maybe that was him, like, showing off, like, in a new position.
Or, like, maybe he was nervous.
And talking a lot.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Because he wasn't annoying like that in either of these 2 episodes. They didn't show him a whole lot.
No.
But he didn't come off that way.
No. Oh, it was funny. There was a little moment with him, where Yoonho was, like, kind of keeping his eye on Donnie when she's, like, first starting to work. And Park Hoon is just kind of, like, talking to Yoonho, and he's like, wow, it's really cool being this close to you. And Yoonho's not paying attention to him at all.
Oh, God.
Funny.
Poor dude.
All right, so do we have predictions for episodes 5 and 6? Or, right?
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Okay, I'm like, where am I?
I think we're getting closer to, like, what's her name? Hirin finding out that Donnie is the one staying at his house.
Oh, yeah.
And that becoming a big thing, because right now nobody knows that they know each other.
Right.
So it's going to be, like, a real big shock when suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, they do know each other, and she's living there.
Yeah. It kind of... This is not the same at all, but when I was in college, me and Alex lived with his sister, and she was my boss at Old Navy, and we had to, like, keep it on the DL that we lived together, because it was already kind of a thing that, like, I was dating her brother, like, my boss's brother, even though it was, like, Old Navy, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. There wasn't, like, a ton of nepotism involved or anything, but, yeah, we kind of had to, like, not really let people know that we lived together to kind of further that whatever. But yeah, I'm excited to see the drama when Yoonho realizes that Mr. Umbrella Dude is the guy that Donnie's been hanging out with, because they don't like each other. And I'm also curious why he's such a fucking dick.
Mm-hmm.
Because he seemed like such a sweet angel man with a beautiful angel dog, and then he was like a completely different person to Yoonho. So maybe he knows that author guy and like is really concerned, and that's why he was a dick.
There's some weird shit happening there.
And
also, he's got a locked door.
Yes.
What's in there?
Fuck.
Is he a murderer?
Does he have that author lock?
Is that his like sex chamber?
Oh my
God.
God.
Is this?
Yeah, so I was really high on that guy, but after the whole door and then the whole...
Yeah, at the end of the episode, you were like,
know.
I don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want him with her.
I know. But then I'm sure next episode he's gonna...
Yeah, you're gonna fall in love with him again.
Yeah, he'll have some sort of redeeming quality, but... So exciting. Tweet us, Instagram us, email us your predictions and
watch
your
with
thoughts.
us.
Yes, watch with us. You can email us at okdramapodcast@gmail.com, Instagram at okdramapodcast, tweet us at okdramapod, Facebook us.
Okay, Drama Podcast.
Okay, Drama Podcast. Yes. I would love to hear some fan theories and just general K-drama chit-chat.
Fanfic.
Yes.
Still waiting for
Lucky fanfic.
Please, somebody. When we get listeners, maybe they'll write in.
Oh yeah, also, like, you can tweet me and talk to me about Touch Your Heart, because I've really been enjoying that too.
And she's been talking about Healer forever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how Andrew and I need to see that, so.
Yeah. What's his
Somebody
name?
talk to her about it.
Ji-Chang-wook. I think that's his real life name. Ji-Chang-wook. He's being discharged from the military soon. So, hopefully we'll see him in another drama soon. He's one of my faves. But anyway, yeah, so talk to me about Romance is a Bonus Book, Healer, any K-drama, Touch Your Heart, exciting stuff. And on that note,
Bye.
bye!